Hello, everybody. It's Noel, the Irish Red. Sorry I haven't been streaming on the channel in the last couple of days. Well, I think it's been about a week. It was my birthday and stuff like that, and I've been a little bit busy. But to be quite honest with you, I've been keeping an eye on everything, and to be quite honest, it's the same stuff being repeated over and over again. But we are here with the latest rumours on the takeover transfers. We got the whole David De Gea situation, Onana, Mason Mount. We'll briefly talk about Mason Greenwood again. There's rumours that Ten Hag might want to keep him but put him out on loan. There is a fan reaction to that. Fans, I would have to say there's different factions in the fandom on this. But I will say just one thing. The fans that want the Qatari bid to win, all I'll just say is you don't have a leg to stand on if you start complaining about Mason Mount. We all know the issues with Qatar. It's well known. No matter how much denial comes from that country or state, we know the issues. Okay. Now I'm not a fan of both bids. I've made it very clear on this channel. I'm not a fan of both bids, but the main top priority for Manchester United fans is obviously to get rid of the Glazer family. But I've never liked these two bids. And it seems like Sir Jim's bid may be dead in the water, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But I want to start off with something that I seen on Twitter. And as if you're a Manchester United fan, I do have a Twitter account at Noel the Red Devil, which I will put in the chat, guys. And if you could do us a favor and support the Twitter account as well, I would really appreciate that. Because that's where the live streams will be going. That's where you'll be able to check out the channel. Now, I want to try do things a little bit differently than other Manchester United channels. I always try to be different. This is why I haven't done many videos on transfers and stuff like that, because I'd be talking about the same stuff all the time, and it kind of gets a bit tiring and boring after a while. And I think it as well, for me personally, I have my favorite channels that I listen to that are no nonsense, and I'll listen to them on transfers and stuff like that. But you can tell, we do all get bored of it. It gets tiring. And at the same time, when we're hearing about players going to different clubs, it can get very frustrating as a Manchester United fan. Now, I'm told, and we see on Twitter as well, the media reporting that Manchester United will start making moves in the next 24-hour, 48-hour period when we head into July. And we're nearly there. So hopefully we do see some movement. But I want to start with something that I did see on Twitter, as I said. And I just want to make it clear before I throw this up. It's from the Sun. And I've just been informed there as well that the article is 18 months old, right? So, channels out there wouldn't mention that. So I'm going to mention that. And I forgot to follow this guy that put it up. So following them there as well. And I'll put this guy's Twitter account in the chat as well, which I'm about to do. So I'm going to throw this up on screen because now, as I said, this was put in the Sun 18 months ago. Now, anybody from the UK or Ireland, Scotland, Wales, that side of the pond, know that the Sun is a scummy newspaper, We don't even have to get into it. But if you're a Liverpool fan, you know exactly how low the Sun can go. Rivalry aside, you know, the articles that the Sun printed about Liverpool fans trying to blame them for the Hillsborough disaster was an absolute disgrace. And of course, we all know the truth now. Um, and the Sun newspaper has a reputation anyway, always has. So you have to take this with a pinch of salt. But this story dropped 18 months ago. But I just want to read it because if this is true, I just want to say something. The reason why I want to read this is because I want to make a point, and you'll understand the point I'm trying to make after I read it. Okay, so just bear with me for a second, because some people will probably think, well, why are you reading this if it's 18 months old, right? And you still have a point to a certain extent, but I'll explain my reasoning behind it. So Zlatan Ibrahimovic tells a crazy Man United story. One day I was in the hotel with the team before a game. I got thirsty, so I opened the minibar and had a fruit juice. We played and then went home. Time went by and my payslip arrives. I realised they'd taken £1 off my monthly wage. I called the manager. Excuse me, why have they taken £1 off my salary? He replies, it was for the fruit juice from the minibar. Are you kidding? Seriously? No, I'm not. Here, if you order something, you have to pay for it. Sure, but I didn't go to the hotel on my own accord. I wasn't on holiday. It was my workplace. I was there for Man United. If I have to play and I'm thirsty, I have to drink. I can't go on the pitch dehydrated. Can you believe it? A quid. Something like that would never happen in Italy. These are the details that make a difference and earn the respect of the players. Right? Now, why do I bring this up? Right? Now, as I said, the Sun is a bit shady, but if this is true, then this explains why there's been such a long saga over this takeover bid. Because if they're willing to dock money out of players' wages for fruit juice that they drank before a game, right? Then this tells me that these people, right, they have indicated that they want 6 billion for Manchester United, right? 6 billion, right? So we know for a fact that Sir Jim's bid goes nowhere near that figure. And we also know that Sheikh Jassim's bid doesn't go near 6 billion. Because if it did, this transfer saga wouldn't be going on, or this takeover bid, I should say, wouldn't be going on for as long as it has. Right? If they got the 6 billion, they'd be gone already. But they don't have the 6 billion. And this is a family, if that story is true, right? And forget about even that story. Look at the fact that the stadium needed to be painted and stuff. And they painted it the wrong shade of red. Right? They dragged their feet on that. The roof is leaking. Right? They haven't fixed the roof. These are penny pinchers. They're not going anywhere, folks, unless they get 6 billion. And this is why we're in the situation that we're in. Because isn't Sheikh Jassim's bid just over 5 point, some have said 5.4, 5.5 billion. Now they might accept the 5.5 billion, but I say the reason why this is dragged out because they want that extra half billion. Because they're that greedy. And this is why, again, you know, and I'll talk about transfers in a minute, but this is why our transfer window, you know, we'll probably do business in July. We just let the whole month of June because, you know, we used to do business in June, but we don't seem to do it anymore. But the financials came out apparently as well. So again, oh, by the way, I just wanted to make clear that that post from Zlatan from the United Way 26 Twitter account, and I did put it in the chat there. So if you want to give the Twitter account a follow, please do. But this is why our transfer window. Look, the media. See, again, I don't trust the media anymore, right? And I know United fans have their go-to journalists that they believe, but like we've gotten different figures coming out from the media. First, we were told the budget was between 100 and 120 million. Then some said it was 150 to 200 million. Now the new one is it's 200 million, but you won't be able to spend all the 200 million because of financial fair play rules, and you'll have to sell players to bump that budget up. So that I mean, the logic, it doesn't make sense. So you can't spend the 200 billion and then sell, or 200 million and you can't sell players. And this is another problem that we have. The club put valuations on all of these players. Now, I will say I think those valuations are, like a lot of United fans have said, are ridiculous. But I think there's some logic behind it, because they know clubs won't offer what they actually want. But if they get near enough to that offer, close enough, then I think they'll be satisfied. But it's frustrating as a Manchester United fan, because we're seeing other clubs do business and we're doing absolutely nothing. And then you have the whole David De Gea saga. Now, listen, I don't know. I don't care where you stand with David De Gea. I really don't, right? I think he's a legend. I know there's fans out there that think he should go, and they've been abusive towards him. I've even seen one post of someone saying, "You're ruining me life. You need to go." I mean, it's over dramatic by some fans, I have to say. I think a lot of United fans do have short memories. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that the goalkeeper isn't an issue, right? Unfortunately, it is under Ten Hag, right? Because Ten Hag likes to play the ball out from the back. Now, I think there is a way, there is a solution to help David De Gea. Obviously kickouts, different story. Boot the ball. If we get a decent striker, right, he could kick the ball up the pitch. The striker could hold the ball. If you get a decent enough striker to hold the ball up, Weghorst was supposed to be that type of striker, but never worked out. Right, you get someone that's capable of taking the ball down and holding the ball up, so he can link up play. Then that's one solution. Another solution as well is when the goalkeeper, when you play it to the defender, instead of the goalkeeper playing it to the defender play it out instead of the goalkeeper. We have to be smart with our budget. Look, it looks like we're going to get Onana, right? Now, he might work out, but he comes with a lot of baggage, right? And I know a lot of United fans are blind or deliberately ignoring that because they want David De Gea to go so badly. I think it's a shame the way the club have treated David De Gea. You give him a contract with reduced wages. He accepts that contract. He goes away and thinks about it for a while, but he accepts it, right? Because he wants to stay at Manchester United, right? That's what that showed me. He wanted to stay at Manchester United. He was willing to take that pay cut to stay at that club, right? So he tells all the players, I'll see you when we come back in for pre-season training, and goes off, comes back to find out, oh, sorry, we've taken the contract away, but if you want to stay, we want you to take an even lower wage cut. Now, Manchester United is supposed to be a classy club, right? But I have noticed this over the years, under the Glazers especially, that there is no class in when we're getting rid of players. we treat players very badly. And I don't care what your position is on David De Gea. If you think that what the Glazers or the club have done to David De Gea is justified, then there's definitely something wrong with you. And, I have no time for people like that. He is a legend at our club. I'll say it again. Fans have very short memories on David De Gea. He has won us a lot more points than he has lost us. Yes, mistakes are creeping into his game a lot more. I'll agree with fans. Right? Now, he has two options. He could go, could stay. We could bring in a Nana. If David De Gea, listen, this is the way I look at it. If David De Gea was willing to take those reduced wages, knowing that there might be another goalkeeper coming in, well, then he was willing to fight for his number one spot, right? So, and I don't see anything wrong with that. We want competition for places. If David De Gea, when David De Gea is pushed, which he was with Dean Henderson, he went through this purple patch, right? I just think fans are just quick to dismiss what this man has done for the club because, they're so hungry. Look, this whole Qatari, this whole takeover thing, I've seen the side to the Man United fandom that I don't like, right? And it's not really my place to judge the Man United fandom. But I get it that you are all hungry for success. So am I, right? I want to see the day that Manchester United lift that Premier League title up again, right? It's my dream. I don't really give a crap about the Champions League right now. I really don't. I hope we do well in the Champions League. But for me, lifting that Premier League trophy and stopping Manchester City dead in the water is what it's all about. Now, while all the other clubs are buying players, let's be honest, right? A whole lot of them know deep down that they will not be able to stop the Manchester City juggernaut. The only team that's capable of doing it if we get our shit together is Manchester United. And they know that, right? And it's funny that Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, and all of these other fans are bantering us right now. All I'll just say is if we're taken over by Sheikh Jassim, it's game over for you all. It doesn't matter who you buy. Over the next couple of years, we will slowly build up to be this absolute machine. Ten Hag is a good manager. He just needs the tools. And I think he's the best manager that we've brought in a long, long time. I think there's a bit, he's got similarities to Sir Alex in the way that he takes no bull crap. He demands the best. He wants to win every game. And that's the type of man we need driving this team. And we need a few of those characters in the team as well. We need to finally get rid of the dead wood. But if this takeover does happen, it's game over, right? City might win the title this year. You never know. Arsenal could do it, but I doubt Arsenal are actually going to win it. I mean, Arsenal fans bantering everybody because they paid 100 million plus 5 million add-ons for Declan Rice, who's probably worth max 40 to 50 million. Overinflated prices for an English player. Well, I say English player, but he played for Republic of Ireland youth, so I don't really like Declan Rice, so I'm glad we were never in for him. I don't like players like that play for the youth Irish team and then decide then to change allegiance, you know what I mean? It's kind of scummy. Jack Grealish did the same as well. But there you go. It happens. It's football. We've done it to Northern Ireland as well, so I suppose I can't really give out about that, but that's just the way of football. But they're not winning the league right now. If Chelsea get their act together, there's a possibility that Chelsea could challenge them, but I don't see it, man. The only club that could stop them, like when Man United, when Ferguson came along and he said he wanted to knock Liverpool off the perch, right? And he did, right? Ten Hag has to come in and do the same thing. Now, remember, Ferguson didn't succeed straight away. People forget that, right? Ten Hag has won a trophy, right? He got us to the FA Cup final. We should have actually beat Sevilla. I don't know what happened to us against Sevilla, to be quite honest with you, but there was a number of factors. I think anyway. I think the bench showed itself to be not great. I think we'd ran out of legs, to be quite honest with you. Christian Eriksen and players like that looked shot. Um, you know, and I think it was the same with the FA Cup. I think it was great that we got back into it. And you should have seen me on FA Cup day. When that equaliser went in, I actually thought, holy shit, we could actually do this. But that's down to the manager and these players putting the effort in, right? I backed them last year and I backed this manager because they made me believe in them again. And now that we've got some momentum, I feel it's going to be ruined if we don't get this takeover nonsense sorted soon. Listen, there's still plenty of time in the transfer window, right? Okay. And I know there are players that have gone to clubs that fans actually really wanted, right? But that now gives us the opportunity to look at other players. And if this takeover especially happens, people will say I'm mad here, right? I don't know if we could do it, right? But there's a possibility because he's not going to Real Madrid now, right? I seen a rumor linked to Liverpool, right? Liverpool, I'm just going to make it out. I'm just going to say this clear to everybody out there. Liverpool ain't signing Kylian Mbappe, right? It ain't happening in a million years, right? He ain't going to Liverpool. It's never going to happen, right? There are only two options for Kylian Mbappe, right? Because PSG are not going to let him go. There's no way they're going to let him go on the free, right? If he walks away in the free, then he has a choice of clubs, and then obviously then there is a chance of him going to Liverpool, but I doubt he'd pick Liverpool. I think he'd go to Real Madrid if that was the case, right? But this is the deal that Manchester United should be doing, or the type of deal they should be doing. He's 23 years old, right? He's got huge potential to be world class, right? You've got a manager in Ten Hag that gets the best out of players. Look at Rashford, for example. Everybody was saying Rashford was dead in the water. So was I. I thought Rashford, I don't know what it was. We knew Rashford was injured, right? And maybe there was a lot going on as well. There was stuff going on outside of football that fans were giving out about. And he actually admitted that he wasn't focused, right? Which is fair enough. He stood up and he said, yeah, he wasn't focused. But he came back focused, had a proper pre-season, and then he had one of the best seasons he's had for us. And while the manager says it's nothing to do with him, it's the hard worker Rashford and all, but that's a good manager. That's a great manager, actually. Great managers don't take the credit, right? But it is down to the manager as well as Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford has to be willing to put the effort in, which he did. But the manager instilled a belief in him and told him that he was a good player, could be a great player. He just had to keep pushing himself. And then you hear the way United players talk now. They talk about pushing themselves every time. That's because of the manager has instilled that. We've lost that at the club. We need that discipline. I mean, the amount of United fans still giving out about and getting rid of Ronaldo. Oh, if we had Ronaldo, we would have won the FA Cup. All of this, that, and the other. Listen, if we had kept Ronaldo, right, that dressing room would have been absolutely rock bottom and we would have been winning jack crap. Okay? That's the bottom line. Listen for a minute, right? I'm a Ronaldo I love Ronaldo. I loved what he did at United, and then I love what he did at Real Madrid. Really do. I think he's one of the best players that we've ever seen. Him and Messi, brilliant, right? No doubt, two of the best players that we've seen in recent times, right? Or the greatest, as they say, right? I'd put Zlatan in there as well, but Zlatan never gets the credit. But Zlatan's an absolute legend as well, right? But the thing about it is that Ronaldo disrespected his manager. Ronaldo disrespected his teammates. And Ronaldo disrespected the fans. But yeah, because he pointed out a few things that we already knew about the Glazer family, right? We'd already known the stuff that he came out with. They weren't big revelations. We'd known that they hadn't changed any of the facilities in years. Gary Neville had told us that. So he told us nothing new. But you hold him up in this light because he spoke out against the Glazers. No, he spoke out against Manchester United. Yes, he did speak about but we knew that stuff. He spoke about the club. He spoke badly about our manager. Right? I don't care how much of a legend you are or a goat. Right? At the end of the day, you disrespect your team, your teammates, you're out the door. Simple as that. That's how Ferguson done it. Right? Beckham was out the door. Yap Stam was out the door. Roy Keane was out the door. Right? This is what you have to do to be the best. Right? Now, Ferguson has admitted that, he regretted certain players that he got rid of, but at the time, it was the right decision. We still went on to be successful. So I don't, while I respect what Ronaldo did at United, and he'll always be a United legend, right? And for me, that incident, that interview, has tainted it a little bit. But in time, I will forgive the man. He's done a lot of good for United, but he was wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and say he wasn't, right? A lot of United fans need to realise, right, that the manager is the boss, right? No player is bigger than Manchester United, not even feckin' Ronaldo, all right? That's the bottom line. But anyway, back to Kylian Mbappe. That's the signing we should be doing. Everybody's talking about Harry Kane. Screw Harry Kane. What was he, 29? I don't care if he's a great goal scorer in the Premier League, right? I want long-term solutions, right? And Harry Kane isn't a long-term solution. Harry Kane is a short-term solution. We'll have him for what, max 2-3 seasons maybe. He'll start to wane, right? Whereas we go for someone like Kylian Mbappe, who's 23 or whatever he is, right? He's still got his best years ahead of him. Give him a 5-year contract, bang. Right? We should be going for Frankie de Jong. Right? These are the players we should be going for, not Mason Mount and all of these other names that we've been. I would take Caicedo from Brighton because United are great. Well, they used to be great at picking young talent, and I wouldn't even mind the United. The United scouts scouted this lad a few years before he went to Brighton, and we didn't do anything about it. Was so poor. I was having a chat with someone on Twitter there, and they were talking about, well, we don't sign stars. We saw, and I do agree to a certain extent. You're right. We do pick those gems, but we're letting them gems go to other clubs. And right now, we need a mixture of players that are going to come through, but we need players that are going to hit the ground running. I just don't see that. Look, no disrespect to Mason Mount, but he's not. For me, he's not. Look, if we're really serious about challenging for the title, Mason Mount, yes, he's an upgrade on what we've got, but we don't need upgrades on what we've got. We need better than upgrades. We really have to look at what happened the season just gone with Manchester City. They've won a treble. They will get stronger. There's a possibility, right? I don't want to say this, but because nobody's saying it right now, but there's a possibility that they could end up doing a back-to-back treble. Now, if that happens, right, I can tell you what will happen. What will happen is Manchester City will start getting a bigger fan base, right? They'll start getting bigger commercial deals, right? Just like when United were building up and bubbling and winning everything. Then they won that treble and then everything just went crazy, right? And were the most supported club in the world. Well, Manchester City could end up taking over. And I know, like, people will probably be listening right now and say, you're crazy. That's what will happen. Mark my words. If they were to win a back-to-back treble, you could forget about people talking about our history, except our fans. It'll be, oh, did you hear about Manchester City back-to-back trebles? Never been done before. You know, they'll capitalise on that as well. They'll use that in their promotion. They'll make their club. Seriously, man, we need to stop this. So Mason Mount ain't it. And I'm just going to say it out straight. Mason Mount ain't it. Right? We need to, yeah, you're right, Henry. We need to offload loads of players, right? To try generate some funds. Okay? But who's going to buy Maguire? Right? Who's going to buy Van der Beek? Right? David De Gea will probably go. We don't know the David De Gea thing. It's touch or go with him. He could stay, he could go if he takes the lower contract. You know, if I were David De Gea, I'd walk away. You know what, David? I would have no ill feeling towards you. You gave us 10 years, right? 12 years, right? You saved us a lot of points over the years. You've had some stunning performances. You're a legend. And you can go away with your head held high. You've nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah, it's just a pity the way the season ended. I'm actually getting a little bit emotional here. It's a pity the way those mistakes. You know, I think it's because they cost us. But nothing can take away what you've done for the club. And you've done a lot of good than bad in my eyes. And you're a legend. And if you do go, I wish you the best of luck. I don't know where you go. If you go to Saudi Arabia, I wish you the best of luck. I think you deserve better than Saudi Arabia, though. I'm gonna say that. I would really love you to stay in the Premier League, but I don't see that happening, to be quite honest with you. But he's a legend, and I just think it is disgraceful the way some Manchester United fan channels and accounts are acting towards him. You know, I know you want them gone, but be classy. We're supposed to be classy. Be classy about it. You know, the man's been a great servant. He deserves the utmost respect. But yeah, fans out there will respect Ronaldo, who disrespected the manager, his teammates, and then went and did an interview with the gobshite Piers Morgan, an Arsenal fan. Nah, man. Nah, put respect on De Gea's name. Put respect on De Gea's name, man. Come on. Kane would crumble under the pressure. I disagree with you. Look, while I think Kane would be a short-term solution, he would bang in goals for us. There's no doubt he would get a lot of goals for us. But, you know, if you brought in Harry Kane and you brought in an understudy, then okay. But I don't think we're even going for two strikers. See, we don't know what's going to happen. It's this takeover. Look at this whole takeover as a cloud, right? We're getting different figures from the media on what Ten Hag actually has to spend. Then people are talking about financial fair play rules and all of this. So no, in my opinion, listen, I know Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein and journalists like that, they're great with transfer stuff. But I have to say, when it's came to this takeover, every single journalist should hang their head in shame, right? Because for months we've heard, oh, it's done. Oh, no, it's not done now. There's another bid coming. Oh, no, there's not another bid coming in. Now it's done. It's really done. It's going to be announced soon. And this is what we've heard for the last couple of months now. It's going to be announced soon. It's going to be announced soon. Even today, it's going to be announced soon. Sheikh Jassim, the big news last night. Sheikh Jassim's team's confident that they've won the bid and all of this crap. How many times have we heard that as well? I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but this is where I am as a where I'm at as a Manchester United fan. I'm kind of like, oh, for God's sake. You know what I mean? I'm just sick and tired of it all. I just want it done now. So hopefully the manager has a little bit more extra money to spend so he can bring in a better quality than Mason Mount. I'm sorry, I don't see Mason Mount as the player. But we are crap at selling players. Yeah, we are crap at selling players. You're absolutely right. But we'll see if we can get rid of some of them. They really have to go. I mean, Harry Maguire needs to go. Definitely. Donny van der Beek, unfortunately. I don't even know why we bought him. That was a weird signing. It's not his fault, but he's been injury prone since we got him. And I don't think, if you look at what we have right now, is he better than what we have right now? I would have to say no. Fred apparently is going to go. McTominay, do you want to get rid of? I think we'll get a decent price from McTominay, though, because he's been scoring some crackers. I have to say, during the international break, he's done us favours with his transfer fee, because he's been banging in goals for Scotland in the top of their group in the European qualifiers. So I think we'll get a decent price for McTominay. We might get close to the figure that we want for him. It might be a little bit lower, but that's why I think Man United have put the figures on the players that they have. They know they're not going to get those figures, but if they get close enough to it, I think they'll accept. So yeah, I really don't know. It's this whole takeover, as I said, is the issue. This is what's holding things up, and maybe Ten Hag and United are just desperately looking around to see what players and bargains they could bring in, but players that are actually going to make a difference. And if their budget, see again, the media, different budgets. We don't know what his budget is. If we actually knew what the budget was, then we'd have a better understanding of the whole situation. But we don't. There's three different figures out there. First it was 100 million, then it was 120. 120 to 150 million. Now it's 200 million, but apparently you can't spend all of that 200 million because of financial fair play rules. And you have to offload some players, which we knew we had to offload some players anyway. That's nothing new. But when you sell an academy player for less than $1 million, that's, and I didn't even bring that up. I mean, I watched his little video, Iqbal's video, and it's such a shame. Such a shame. Apparently there was a falling out. He wanted to join the Iraqi squad for I think it was the under 21s World Cup or something like that. And Ten Hag apparently refused or something. And he never really got into the United squad. But he put up a lovely video. And yeah, this club I just don't know, man. It's all well and good being taken over by people that just want money from you. But how did the people within the club become so cold. I just, it's supposed to be classy. It's so sad. But anyway, let's get into the main topic here. I did talk about Onana. Yeah, so Onana, apparently all of that next week. We always keep hearing next week. Another thing as well, any player that United seem to be linked to is, we might be going into talks. We are keeping a close eye on that, this, that, and the other. It's always keeping an eye, isn't it? Or maybe we're about to engage in conversation, and then some club comes in, bang, with an offer accepted. But I think, again, that's got a lot to do with the fact that the ownership is in. There's a cloud over that. Now, obviously, we can talk about the people that are handling negotiations for transfers, and we know John Murtaugh and what's his name, the other gobshite, they're not great at doing their job. So that could be a factor as well. Listen, we're just absolutely all over the place right now. But apparently the Mason Mount deal will come to a head at the end of the week for some weird reason. I mean, the money that Chelsea's even looking for Mason Mount is ridiculous, even the price that we're rumoured to be getting him at. But I don't see Mason Mount. Look, I could be proven wrong on Mason Mount. I think a lot of United fans don't see it with Mason Mount right now. And we could be proven wrong. I hope I am. I really do. I remember that season that he had was a derby, and he was cracking that season. Because I used to watch a bit of derby, because I used to watch the championship football after, because when you used to be able to watch championship football on the TV and then start moving all over the place. But I used to watch them quite a lot. Look, he had one good season, in my opinion, and he hasn't really been consistent since then. So I don't believe he's going to get us closer to the title, to be quite honest with you. And even if Onana is in goal, I mean, yeah, it doesn't prove that the ball distribution, that still doesn't mean that we're closer to the title, though. United's biggest problem is our midfield, and obviously not scoring goals. We can't dominate in games. We used to dominate in games. Well, especially in the English Premier League. Champions League was a different story, but some games in Champions League we dominate, of course. But obviously when it got down to the nitty-gritty, it'd be a bit more even. Or United would have to defend for their lives and get a counter-attack goal. But it's just, I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. So we have to say, look, if he comes in, I've backed every player that the manager has brought in, and I've backed the manager, and that's not going to change. And it won't. It won't. Even if Mason Mount turns out to be a flop, I won't. I do believe in Ten Hag and what he's trying to do. I do believe, though, if he knew what money he had, we wouldn't be going for players like that, to be quite honest with you. And I think if the club was run properly as well, we'd have a better scouting team that could go to the manager. Look, we've seen this player that we think will suit your style of play, and then what happens then normally is the manager goes and watches that player, right? Or the assistant goes out to watch and then says to him, yeah, you really need to check this player out. And then the manager will then go and see the player. And then before you know it, he's a Manchester United player. Well, we're a shambles. And so is this, which is the main news here today, which is the transfer. And this is an article from the Mirror. Now, the Mirror is slightly more reliable than the sun, but I would still take this. Well, actually, I wouldn't know. I could probably say not take this with a pinch of salt because I remember doing a stream on the channel here where we were talking about the fact that apparently Sir Jim's bid was done anyway because of the new rules that came in that you couldn't buy the club by using loans and stuff like that. And there was even rumour that he had to go and sell Nice to try and basically wrestle United away from Sheikh Jassim. So apparently Sir Jim's bid, and just hopefully this video doesn't bleed and play. This is what the article's doing now. They throw in these little videos. Right, it's not deleting for some weird reason because they want the video to play. So hopefully it doesn't. So I hate when this happens. It's because of that video. It's because of that video. Look at this, man. Look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. How are you supposed to read that now? That is disgraceful. Right, hold on. We might have got somewhere now. Right, just let it just. So no, I'm not even going to throw it up on the screen. I'll just read it out because this is absolutely ridiculous. Right. So, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Manchester United takeover bid is dead in the water as Sheikh Jassim leads the race. But again, I will say we've heard this time and time again. So, Jim Ratcliffe's bid to complete a takeover of Manchester United appears to have faltered, with Sheikh Jassim now leading the race to complete the deal. The Red Devils have been up for sale since November. 7 months. This takeover should have been done max 3 to 4 months. But because the Glazers didn't get 6 billion, this is why we have had to wait this long. So the Red Devils have been up for sale since November, with Ineos owner and Qatari billionaire emerging as the front runners. Well, that's not true. What's basically happened is that the Glazers were hoping for a lot more bids and tried to generate some hype, but you know, we've just gotten over a pandemic and we're going through a financial crisis right now. And no other people were willing to take that bet on Manchester United, and you were stuck with 2 bids. And for as long as it is, because you're trying to squeeze as much money out as you can before you leave, because you are a bunch of parasites and hungry pieces of crap. Just do the fans a favour and get the feck out of our club. So, why is it dead in the water? Let's see. Have they does the Mirror actually explain why it's dead in the water? Because it's funny when you get these articles and they never explain why it's actually dead in the water. So let's see, do they actually give us a reason why it's dead in the water? Both have lodged a number of bids for the Old Trafford outfit, but the process has since appeared to have ground to a halt, and we all know that. The Glazers and the facilitators of the sale, the Rain Group, have yet to name a preferred bidder. That delay has led to continued protests against the much criticised American owners. However, our supporters might have renewed hope of a deal with Sheikh Jassim moving ahead in the race. It is said that the Qatari is increasingly confident of winning the battle to acquire Manchester United. This all follows a development with Ratcliffe's proposed offer. According to Bloomberg, the 70-year-old's bid for Manchester United is dead in the water. They say it's because he is proposing a structure to buy out the Glazers while he's unwilling to offer anything to the minority stakeholders already in situ. Well, that explains Sir Jim for you right there. Look, Sir Jim is not good enough for Manchester United, neither is Sheikh Jassim. To be quite honest, I don't like two bids, but if you were to pick the lesser of the two, which bid suits Manchester United, I should say, better, it would be Sheikh Jassim's, but we can get into the moral implications after that, because, we will have to talk about it. It is reported by Bloomberg that the Americans could still decide to remain at Old Trafford while taking an external investment. A number of parties have expressed their interest in investing in the Red Devils. So, see, again, as I said, they don't get the money that they want. They will stay. And this is why we're being affected in the transfer window. Again, the Glazers are actually damaging us with this whole process. This should have been sorted out before the transfer window opened. And I mean the English window. Right? It should have been done. We should have been going into this transfer window already talking to players or talking to clubs about potential signings. Right? And it actually sounded like that when the season first ended. We were given news reports that United were going to get their business done early. They were going to get their business done quick. They were going to get what the manager wanted. And then all of a sudden it just went quiet again. And then, did you notice there was a protest at the Manchester United superstar, which I do want to talk a little bit about as well, and just say something about some of the fans' behaviour actually towards some fans, because it's something that I have to say something about, but I'll get into it. But so, of course, the protest happened, and then we get this new news, right? This is the Glazer PR machine on overtime again. I wouldn't be listening to anybody right now. Reuters, I should say, came out and said something. Well, how long ago was that now? A week ago? And nothing's happened. Now Bloomberg has come out. Fair enough, yeah. Credible sources, everybody says. But still, nothing. And the Bloomberg thing and the Reuters report both did say that there was a chance of the Glazers staying. But yeah, all the fans have just kind of shoved that out the window and they're gone. They're not gone until they get their 6 billion or close to the 6 billion. So, and when the club announced that it's business as usual in the transfer window, it's not business as usual, folks. We just don't have the money. And with the wages that we've given players over the years, it's going to be hard to ship some of these players. I mean, there you go. Just someone that I follow on YouTube now. Ratcliffe deal collapses and takeover imminent. You don't know that. Nobody knows. United fans just get sucked into this every time. We at this stage, I would just say to you all, yeah, it's frustrating watching other clubs do business and all of that, and you're angry. I'm angry too, but you're just better off taking a step back and taking a deep breath, because until this ownership is sorted out, our transfer window is going to be hampered either way. Now, if Sheikh Jassim comes in and makes a few more funds available, and is able maybe to pay some players off to leave the club, maybe clear the books, get the wages down a little bit, you know, and manage to get rid of some players, sell some players, then we might be in a better position to go out there and get some, players that I believe, players that will improve the squad straight away. Do you know what? This is what we should be looking at, right? You look at our starting 11 right now. What we need to be doing is we need to be bringing in players better than that starting 11. Or players that are equal or have potential to be equal. Because what you want is you want a strong bench. You want a strong 11. Actually, you want around 8. You probably want around 16, 17 players. That could be all starters. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But the last topic I want to talk about is obviously Manchester United launched, because as they do, they're a football club, and they launched their new Manchester United home kit. Now, we saw leaked photographs of this kit, and it looked absolutely disgusting, I have to say. But I've looked at it now properly, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to buy it. Now, as soon as I said that, right, there was no hesitation. Right now, I haven't bought a Manchester United jersey in 3 seasons. Right, so I did my part. Didn't buy, just like a lot of fans didn't. We actually stuck to our guns and didn't buy. It's funny that the fan channels that are screaming at fans for buying jerseys all end up with the jerseys on when they're doing their match reactions and all of this. It's actually funny, right? But there are a lot of fan accounts out there that I've seen that are criticising Manchester United fans for going out and buying the new home jersey, because apparently if you do, you're funding the Glazers and you're nothing but a Glazer supporter. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Okay? And no fan channel out there or no fan account out there has the right to tell Manchester United fans whether they can buy the jersey or not. And just to let you know, right, it's actually going to make no difference whatsoever, right? Because I'll tell you why. Because as soon as that jersey was released, right, the pre-orders for that jersey online, right, the jersey's going to sell out whether you like it or not. Okay, so it doesn't matter if anybody went into the megastore, but we seen a protest outside the megastore, and you know what? I've agreed with every single protest, and I even agreed with this one. I just thought it was a bit stupid, trying to get the megastore closed down when people were going to buy the jerseys online anyway, right? But it was good that they were there, just letting the Glazers know that, the fans are still vocal, they still want them gone, and that's all great. Right, support that 100%. What I don't support is that when 2 girls came out of the megastore, all of these fans start booing these 2 girls because they went and they bought the new kit. And the funny thing is, right, is we've actually seen footage online of some of these people at the protests, right? And then when the protest breaks up, we've seen them come out of the megastore, right, after they've bought the jersey, like. Right, so I mean, you need to stop dictating the fans. I'm buying the jerseys this season. I fucking love them. Right? And it makes no difference. You're actually hurting the club now at this stage. Right? Because the Glazers I think they will go. Right? They will. They've just dragged this out. I've even said I think they'll drag it out till the end of the transfer window and screw us around one last time, because that's how vindictive this family is. Right? That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but that's what it seems to me. It seems like they're dragging their feet deliberately. I think a deal is probably I think it's already probably done. They're just delaying right now. Right? Final bits and pieces to be done. And they're still dragging their feet a little bit, but they will go. Right? But Manchester United need money. The club needs money, folks. Right? So they'll get their 6 billion, right? But the club still needs money. We need to generate revenue. because of the financial fair play rules. We need to be generating revenue, right? Because I'm telling you now, if you think we're going to get rid of all of those players that we have up for sale, I doubt it highly. So we need to generate money from elsewhere. So while I hate to say it, you know, I don't think anybody should be telling fans not to buy the jersey. I think you should be encouraging them. And I'm gonna get them. I haven't gotten them, as I said. I've done my bit. I've been vocal, right? If I lived in Manchester, I'd be over there every week with the lads, home and away, right? If I lived in Manchester, I'd be there home and away, and I'd be protesting, and I'd be doing all I can do, right? But I stopped buying Manchester United stuff completely, and it hasn't worked, by the way, because the parasite's still stuck around. So if people thinking by boycotting the jersey this season that but somehow it's going to convince the Glazers to go or hurt them or hurt Adidas. I mean, I don't care if you hurt Adidas, to be quite honest with you, but like, you know, it's up to yourself what fight you want to fight. But I'm sorry, but until they get their money, that's the thing. They want 6 billion or close enough to 6 billion. So it doesn't matter whether you buy the jersey or not. They're still not going to go anywhere until they get what they want. And that's the point I've been trying to make, really. I wish it wasn't so. I wish they'd just take the money that they're being offered, because I think it is an overinflated price anyway, what they're being offered. But they're greedy. So, you know, I think the overall point I'm trying to make is we can blame the club for being slow on transfers. We could blame John Murtaugh and the other guy that I can't think of his name, because I just get angry when I think of those two idiots who are in charge of bringing in players. You can't really blame them either, to be quite honest with you, though, because their hands are probably tied. They probably informed the manager of the budget. You know, this is what we've got to work with. And maybe the manager and the two lads are working behind the scenes to try get deals done. You know, because they've haggled on this Mason Mount. Look, I think what Chelsea's doing is disgraceful anyway, right? Asking that amount of money for fecking Mason Mount. He's not even worth the money that they want for him, right? He's not. There's no way he is, right? But they sell players to other clubs for a cheaper price. But when United come calling, there's that, and United fans have said it, but it is true. There's that United tax, right? And United need to be ruthless. United should have walked away from this deal a week ago. But I think the manager and behind the scenes are so desperate because they've got a certain budget and they're hoping that some players will leave. We've heard the rumour now as well. I think it was reported last week. Do you remember? Harry Maguire apparently wants to fight and stay for his place. That's a player that we're trying to actually sell. Who's going to take him? As I said, there's a chance we'll sell McTominay. I think he's their best bet, actually, for a sale. There's even rumour that Donny van de Beek might go back to Ajax, which is grand. I don't think he should have left Ajax in the first place. I found that deal strange. Like, when he came to the club, I backed him. Love Donny. I think he's an honest lad. I really do. I think he does. I think he is a good footballer, but it was just a sign in that I think a lot of Man United fans were confused about, because we weren't sure what position he was going to play in. Because of course he did that interview where he said he could play in different positions, but he was never utilised. So Donny is a strange one. Fred might go, but we might have overpriced him out. Fred, I have mixed feelings on. I think a lot of United fans do on him because he'll put in 1 out of 10 performances, and then he'll put in these 10 out of 10 performances. Fred is just one of those players, very inconsistent, and it's such a pity. It's such a pity because I like Fred. He's a good lad, good personality. Not you need them personalities as well around the club, but we got to be ruthless here, and Fred ain't it. McTominay as well. You know, we could argue, could you keep him as a squad player? You know, but if we're offered money from Newcastle or whoever is interested in buying him, I think this could be the opportunity to get some good money for him and sell him on and let him have a career somewhere else. Um, but depends on sales as well. But look, we'll see what happens in the next couple of days because that's when apparently United are going to start, according to the media, that I don't really trust, but you never know. Look, they're all guessing at this stage, but we'll see what happens in July. We're not long now. How many days is in June again? Is it 30 days? Yeah, 30 days, and then it's 31 in July, isn't it? So we should know by Monday what the hell's going on. As for the takeover, next week would be ideal, wouldn't it? If we actually got the news finally. Yeah, it'd be 3 weeks too late for me. Well, actually, it's 4 months, 5 months too late for me. Should have been done 8 months ago. But if it's announced next week, well, then we still have a chance in the transfer window to do some good business. So all hope is not lost, but that's all we have right now is hope. And as United fans, we hope is not enough now. It's time that Manchester United shake off the shackles of the last few years and become the club that everybody grew up with, loved, and fans and other clubs around the world feared when they saw the name Manchester United. We've been bantered for we've been bantered ever for a long, long time now. It'll be nice to be able to give that back and for fans not to have a comeback anymore. Because it's been a stressful time being a fan, I've got to say. But I wouldn't change it for the world. We've had some great moments, even if they've been few and far between, but we need to kick on now. We need to be that club again because we cannot allow Manchester City to continue dominating as they are. Because I'm sorry, yes, while Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, teams like that around us are all strengthening, so is Manchester City, right? And they're already a level above everybody else. And they're still getting stronger. So this is it. This is it. This has to be the season where we push them close and stop them from doing something anyway. We have to. We have to try get into those cup finals. Hope they're not there, but if they are, we got to stop them, man. But we're not going to do that with Mason Mount. So, we got to up their game. So hopefully next week, look, maybe Mason Mount, we will bring in Mason Mount, but then when Sheikh Jassim takes over, then we got a little bit extra money then we'll start seeing a little bit more quality coming in, and then we can really start dreaming. But we definitely need a striker. And I do believe we get a striker, we will be better automatically anyway. Because you look at the chances even with the team that we had with the season just gone, right? If we had a decent striker, right? Because we relied too much on Rashford in the end, right? If we had a decent striker, right? Even a level above Veghorst, we would have scored a lot more goals. So we just, we get that striker in. See, again, I thought that'd be the first signing we'd make. I don't get this Mason Mount thing. I thought we'd sign a striker for strikers priority. Get a striker in, so at least you have a striker for pre-season. And even if the other players do come in a little bit later, which wouldn't be ideal, but we got them in anyway. Then we could have a little bit of optimism. But what can you do? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because, as I said, this is going to rumble on. So hopefully we get some news in the next couple of days. Something breaks. Hope maybe tomorrow, Friday, we could have something. It'd be nice if we could. Then we could look to Monday then, when the international window is open, and then we can go all guns blazing then. And you never know. You never know. United might then decide, go for. I know it's a pipe dream, but I'm gonna dream Kylian Mbappe. Man, could you imagine him, Rashford, and whoever is playing out on the other wing? If Sancho can get his act together, man. Hopefully, there's rumor that we might keep him. You know, uh, this guy's been given a break away from the squad as well, and that's what kind of rolls me up about this. There should have been an improvement, but something has clearly gone wrong somewhere. But if we keep him, he has to do something this season, because if he doesn't, he has to go. There's no time of being sentimental here. At the end of the day, if he doesn't, do it, he has to go. And we'll get decent money for him, and it'll help towards the kitty, because that's what we should be thinking about. And remember, you've got Anthony, you've got Garnacho. I don't know if that he's gonna give Ahmad a chance, but there's rumor that he might be sent out on loan again, but to a Premier. He's hoping to get him into a Premier League team. If that's the case, I would just keep him here and give him a chance. You gave Garnacho a chance and it worked out. You gave Palestri a chance, which I think you should have brought him on the FA Cup final. You should have done a lot of things in the FA Cup final, but look, it happens. But we need, we need to be clever here. We'll see what happens anyway. But look, we leave it there for now. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate everybody that has subscribed. We're up to 20 subscribers now. I really do appreciate the support, and I want to thank everybody that has, as I said, subscribed. But don't forget to like and share. And if you do like me opinions, and you're talking to fellow Manchester United fans, if you could give us a bit of a shout out there, and let them know that this channel is here, and maybe, bring some more people into the chat, so we can have a talk and interact with you and stuff like that. As I said, we'll be here for pre-season. We will be doing pre-season and stuff like that, which is only a few weeks away, folks. So, we will be doing pre-season match reactions and stuff like that, our match report, whatever. I haven't kind of thought about how I want to do it, but we will be covering pre-season. Then, of course, we'll be covering the whole season, which includes the Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, which I can say now, and the League Cup. But got to be honest, if we don't buy decent players, the Champions League run will not last. And when we have gotten back into the Champions League, yeah, I'll say no more, but we got to do some good business. Hopefully we can. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Listen, I know it's awful being a Manchester United fan right now. We don't know whether we're coming or going, but hopefully all of this saga is over in the next couple of days, or hopefully by next week, because if this drags on, which I fear it's going to, then Ten Hag is going to be screwed over, just like Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Van Gaal. Any manager that the Glazers have brought in has been screwed over the second season, right? They've backed them in the fourth season and not always got the players that they wanted, though, but they've backed them in the transfer window, right? They've given them a budget and they've spent money on players, right? But then when it comes to the second season, right, where if they get it, I've always noticed as well when they get into the Champions League, the money all of a sudden starts drying up. Then they expect United then to kick on because they're in the Champions League, like. But they screw the manager over on the second season, and then by the third season they sack him because they don't want to take responsibility for it. It's not their fault. It's always the manager's fault. So the manager pays the price. And I don't want that to happen to Ten Hag. So he needs to be backed. Anyway, we'll leave it there, Reds. I'll talk to you soon. And hopefully the next time we talk, we'll be sitting here talking about those parasites gone. And then we'll see what budget we see. We can't get too excited either about what budget we have if Sheikh Jassim finally wins. But it's at least we know we'll have money there to do business, and that's the thing that'll be the difference between the Glazers and this takeover, is the fact that we'll have funds available every season and we won't have to worry about it. Whereas now we don't know what funds are available, and it's always in the air. We always drag our business all through the window. It's always a saga and always a bleeding show at Manchester United under these parasites. But we're getting near that end game, I do believe it. Because there's no way they could stay now after saying they're going to put the club up for sale. I say, whatever has happened in the last couple of weeks, remember, apparently Sheikh Jassim upped his bid a little bit. We had all of that whole nonsense with the PSG owner. And I think that was probably him telling Sheikh, look, if you up the bid to this much, they'll accept. And maybe the reason why there has been a delay, maybe it's all been paperwork and stuff like that, and we don't know. There's not actually any of the parties involved. But because it is the Glazers and the Glazers are behind it, we're always going to blame them, So we'll see what happens. But listen, Reds, have a good one. I'll talk to you soon. And as I said, let's keep our fingers crossed and stuff that this club is finally out of their hands and we can move on with a little bit of optimism, and we'll have those conversations about the morality and all of that after the fact, because those conversations are going to have to happen. Have a good one, folks. See you soon. Bye bye.